Again. I'd like to call to order the December 28th, 2023 Columbia Borough Council meeting. Could I have a roll call, please?
Councilperson Zink.
Here.
Councilperson Kaufman.
Here.
Councilperson Stahl. Councilperson Fisher. Here. Councilperson Price. Here. Councilperson Whitner.
Here.
Councilperson Lagarde.
Here.
Mayor Lux.
Here.
Would anybody care to offer an invocation? Well, if you would like.
If I may, I won't offer to take, but I do want to speak.
Okay.
Today, this morning, I was informed about a lifelong friend of mine and former neighbor that had just passed away, Albert Ellis. And as you know, Albert's wife Lynn has worked for us many years as a crossing guard. And Albert is part of that great, I'll say great tradition of Columbia basketball players that actually created that legend to where Columbia is a force to be reckoned with in basketball, both in Lancaster County and in Pennsylvania for that matter. So I ask you to keep Albert, his wife Lynn, and their families in your prayers as we go forward. Thank you.
If you'd like, please rise for a moment of silence. And Sharon, since it's your last meeting, would you like to lead us in a pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Announcement of executive and information sessions, there were none. Are there any additions, deletions, or reorganization of the agenda needed? I'm not aware of anything. Could I have a motion to approve the agenda as published?
Second.
I have a motion by Councilperson Kaufman, second by Councilperson Price, to approve the agenda as published. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Citizen comment on agenda items only. The first item we have is Brad Chambers.
Hello. All right. Good evening, everyone. Tonight, I am here to celebrate the tenure of Sharon Littner. You were one of the first people in this borough to reach out and embrace me, and I'm very thankful for all the wisdom and guidance that you've shown me throughout this time. You've been a mentor to me in many respects, and you deserve your flowers today. I know that your years on council are not comprised entirely of pleasant experience, and I admire your tenacity to carry on in the face of ridicule, harassment, and at times slander. And by doing so, I think that you demonstrate what strength of character looks like. I strongly believe in the importance of council members welcoming criticism and being held accountable both by the public and each other. While differences among individuals are inevitable, I think it is crucial to handle these disagreements with care, particularly when interfacing with the public. Take me, for example. Your engagements with me, I don't think should resemble your engagements with each other. I mention myself not to redirect attention, but to stress the need for respectful discourse and engagement, a principle that should resonate across every interaction involving a council member. Each of you undoubtedly holds diverse visions for our borough's future, intersecting at points and obviously diverging at others. However, I don't think personal attacks and spectacle should ever really cross public meetings. Our aspirations for economic growth should not overshadow the importance of inclusivity and a sense of belonging for all in our community. When that is forgotten, I believe that it sends the wrong message. Attracting young professionals to Columbia and stimulating the economy has been a major theme throughout 2023, but the behavior I speak of, I believe to be at odds with this goal. When newcomers or transplants, as some Colombians call them, see things like this, they might wonder if you aren't part of certain clubs, if you have the wrong letter next to your name on a ballot, if you don't vote how the majority does, that you may be excluded. You may not be part of the group. And I think there's always room for improvement. I sincerely hope we can collectively strive for positive changes in Columbia. And Sharon, I just want to say one more time, thank you for your dedicated service on council. Your contributions have left an indelible mark on our community.
Thank you, Brad.
That's it.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak that did not sign up? Minutes for approval. Could I have a motion to approve the Borough Council meeting minutes for December 12th, 2023? Second. A motion by Councilperson Kaufman, second by Councilperson Price, to approve the Borough Council meeting minutes for December 12th, 2023. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Presentation and acceptance of reports. I would like to acknowledge the financial reports for November 2023. Are there any questions, comments? Tammy's not here, but I can probably answer. And if I can, I can get with her. Any questions? Frank, we have some information for you. Yes, I just now remembered that we had it for you. And it's the fund balance.
This is out of the audit. That's the current fund balance.
Thank you for rustling that, because I completely forgot you had that.
Yeah, and if I can, it's no secret. Frank has asked in several of the council meetings what the current fund balance is. That sheet's a little bit confusing because that's why I highlighted the one. It's the free balance because the actual balance is over 4 million something, but a lot of that's already encumbered. So the amount of funds, unencumbered funds that sit in the bank account, which we call our reserve fund, kind of a misnomer, but that's the reserve fund, is just shy of 3 million. Thank you.
No, thank you. Got that. All right. Presentations. We have, is Anthony here?
Don't see him.
No, I don't either. All right, well, then we are not, that'll be canceled then. And the gentleman from Parma was going to speak to us regarding reserving on-street parking for customer pickup in front of Parma, but he's not here to discuss it, so. All right, Mayor Lutz.
Nothing at this time, Madam President.
Thank you. Action items. The first item we have, 11A, is reconsideration of ordinance 948 of 2023, amending Chapter 220, Section 22056, off-premise signage. We have to reconsider this and re-vote on it due to a veto after it had been delivered to the mayor. It came back with no signature. And then and per the borough code, when it comes back with no signature within 10 days, it's considered a veto and we have to reconsider it.
Point of order.
Yes.
The ordinance did not come back to the borough as a veto. The ordinance, the hard copy of the ordinance was given to one of the clerks to keep until the next meeting. It was, I in no way intended to veto, it would be foolish to veto a 6-0 ordinance. But I did not sign it, and I was prepared this evening to make the statement that would go on the record as to why I chose not to sign the ordinance. So that, and the reason for that is, down the road, if someone contests the ordinance and they see that the ordinance was not signed by the mayor, they may seem to think, and records get lost, they may seem to think that the ordinance is not proper because I did not sign it, or the mayor did not sign it. But by having my statement read into the minutes shows the reason why it wasn't signed. And that would basically show that while it wasn't signed, it was put into law. But Evan, if you feel going the other way is more proper, I really don't have a problem. I don't like the idea of it being a veto.
I don't think we're left a choice, unfortunately. I understand what you're saying for sure, but I think we kind of had to treat that as you returned it unsigned to the borough, which is why we're going to do this tonight. I think that's kind of where we're at. I certainly would appreciate if you don't mind having your statement read into the record anyhow.
I would really like to do that.
Yeah.
And I mean, as long as it,
Yeah.
put it this way, the bottom line on this thing is, as long as it goes into law and it's clean, and that's my big
Right,
concern.
well, and that's why we're revoting, because we want
Okay,
to make sure that,
I'll live with that.
yeah,
Yeah.
I wanted to
procedurally,
make
we
that
don't want it
point,
to
that-
be,
Yes.
Technically, I did not veto that.
Absolutely, understood.
Right.
Understood.
yeah, that's why I said we have to treat it like a veto,
Yes. Yep.
so that procedurally, if we're challenged in the future, there's no
Belt and suspenders.
Yep.
right?
There's no
That's what we're-
reason for
yeah.
someone
No problem, that's no
challenge
problem.
it.
Whatever you feel is proper, and as long as it works for the
So-
borough in the future.
Did you want to read your statement, or did you want,
I would,
okay,
I'll read my statement. Statement directed to Columbia Borough Council. I have chosen not to sign ordinance 948 of 2023, amending chapter 220, section 220-56, off-premise signs. I do not feel this ordinance addresses the possible safety problems that may exist with the placement of the sign close to the westbound exit on US Route 30. I also believe the erection of this sign will be a nuisance to adjacent property owners. I ask that this be entered into the minutes, so my choice not to sign may be recorded. Respectfully, Leo Rhodes, Mayor, Borough Columbia.
Motion in a second.
Yep. Do I have a,
Do we have any chance to discuss again or not? Is that not allowed?
we certainly can.
You sure can. I would get a motion in
Yeah.
a second, and then you
I'm
can,
sorry,
yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
Second.
All right, I have, and I'm assuming it's a motion to adopt. I have a motion by Councilperson Kaufman and a second by Councilperson Price to adopt ordinance 948 of 2023. Okay,
Since we voted on this before, I have been given some new information that I was not aware of, that kind of elaborated on the safety. And so, after reading that and giving a lot of thought to the area that it would be located, I am inclined to want to change my vote. So I was going to explain why, and it would be because of safety at that area.
any other questions?
What regarding safety?
This is already a busy area to get on and off there to exit.
So it's a presumed concern about safety, or is there a study or
There
something that?
was information that I believe Jessica Fieldhouse presented to some people on planning commission, and I had not had a chance to read through that until recently. And when I did, raised a few red flags for me that that may not be the best location for that type of sign.
Thank you.
Sure.
Oh, Mary, you have your hand up back there. All right. I mean, while Mary's coming up, I'll say that the first time they presented this to us, they were very clear with giving us the safety information for similar applications on similar stretches of,
Distances and
and
visibility
distances and
all
everything
those,
else, and
yes.
that it did not impact safety and,
Okay, just Mary Wickenheiser, Chair, Columbia Borough Planning. Really didn't plan on being here this evening. Yes, we discussed safety, and yes, Jessica did provide a study to us, but we also looked at how this ordinance was framed with regard to that study. And we looked at this 2 months of planning. And I will say there was one planning commission member at that time who was an alternate who expressed concerns about safety. He was not there at the time we did make the recommendation, but we did have his input. And the members of the planning commission at that time felt that this ordinance, as written, did not present a safety hazard. The thing we have to keep telling ourselves is what you are doing is passing an ordinance. You are not permitting a billboard. In the long run, there will probably be something out there, but it's got a lot more steps to go through before it can be permitted and erected. It has to go through state permitting. I've had the discussion with the mayor. We had discussion between the meetings here. I knew he was not happy that planning recommended this. I will say that his actions here, so I said he really was not happy with council's actions on this either. But what we had to keep focusing on at planning was we are looking at an ordinance. We are not looking at permitting a billboard at that location. If somebody wants to erect a billboard at that location, as I said, there's a lot more steps they have to go through. So passing this ordinance does not say that tomorrow they're going to start construction on a billboard. You're looking at an ordinance, not a permit.
but I think you have to, and
You
I get
have to
that.
look at the
You
two.
have to look at it
They
at the
overlap.
same time, that, because there is that overlap, that
Mhm.
whatever you do in the ordinance is going to have a real world application.
Right.
So you're not just looking at a paper.
Right.
You are looking at a real world application, so we do have to keep that in mind also.
Mhm. But the thing is, what you're looking at is an ordinance.
Correct.
Okay.
But
Thank you.
without that ordinance change, they wouldn't be able to move forward with this, is that correct?
They could always go to zoning to request
Okay.
an exception or some such to be able to do it. So there are multiple ways to accomplish an end. Okay. Any further questions? Thank you for allowing me to speak.
No problem.
Thank
This is sort of a weird.
It is. I can only ever recall the mayor with one other veto when I was on the council, and I think that was a budget. Thank you.
Nate had this, I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, I did. Nate, did you want to make a comment?
I feel like if this were the Supreme Court, this would be the dissenting opinion. All due respect to Mary, I appreciate the decision that was made, and I was the dissenting opinion. Unfortunately, at that time, I did not have a vote on the planning commission.
Speak up.
Okay. Okay. So I just wanted to make the point that I think safety concerns were the primary reason why I was against this. And I think that the data that Jessica Fieldhouse shared with us, I don't feel that the plan addressed what she shared with us. I think I want to highlight one point, or maybe 2 points. This in particular stood out to me in the data that Jessica shared with us. She said, roadside advertising should not be located in complex driving locations where the traffic conditions are likely to change rapidly or in the center of the driver's field of view. I mean, there were a number of points, but that was the one that really stood out to me. And when you talk about a complex driving situation, that exit is the perfect example of that to me. And just one other thing I wanted to mention that it was a good question that was asked was, if this ordinance were to not pass, are there any other alternatives? And the other alternative, like was mentioned, is to go before zoning. And that is actually, in my understanding of the way that these things work, that's actually normally the route that you would take. You would go for a special exception before zoning. What is being attempted to do right now is change an ordinance rather than to get an exception, which was explained to us. They had to decide, do they want to try and get an exception or change the ordinance? And this was the easier of the two routes that they decided to go with. I have a bit of an issue with that too. I feel like you go through the normal channels, you ask for your exception. It's a tougher process, and I think that's on purpose. I think that this is a really tricky subject, and I think that it should be a tougher process to get an exception. So just wanted to explain my reasoning since I was mentioned not by name, but that's all.
Thank you. Yep.
Claudia Shank on behalf of the petitioner in this matter. A couple points that I want to address. First, with respect to the idea that this was the easier process, this is certainly not the easier process. It's a more time-consuming process. The zoning hearing board hearing can be accomplished in 2 months. This has taken more than 6 months, but we believed it was the better process to address a change like this, and that's why we went this route. So I did want to address that specifically. I also did want to speak briefly to the safety issue. I know there was information shared by your township engineer. We also shared some studies that we have, which were in the surrounding area, including in Reading, Pennsylvania, which would attest to the safety of a billboard sign like this on a highway like 30. I want to point out as well that a billboard is currently there and is permitted under your current ordinances there. What we're proposing is a larger board that's more in keeping with the types of billboards that you would see along a corridor like Route 30. We think it'll be more legible to passersby than a smaller board would be, or frankly, the board that's there now. So I do want to dispel any notion that a board would not be permitted there without this relief. The relief allows us to have a larger board that would be more in keeping with what you see along that corridor. Thank you.
Thank you.
Leslie?
Yes.
The study that Jessica provided us was from Queensland, Australia.
Oh.
Oh. Okay. And as was stated here, we were provided with more local studies that evening we had our meeting in October that were more regional to this area.
Thanks. Are there any other questions, comments, concerns? No? All right, and I have a motion by Councilperson Kaufman, a second by Councilperson Price, to adopt ordinance 948 of 2023, amending Chapter 220, Section 220-56, off-premise signs. Teresa, I'm sorry I didn't warn you, we have to roll call this.
Councilperson Kaufman?
Yes.
Councilperson Stahl? Councilperson Fisher?
Yes.
Councilperson Price?
Yes.
Councilperson Littner?
No.
Councilperson Brigard?
Yes.
Council President Zink?
Yes. And that carries. This is official this time. All right, and now at this time, 7:23 p.m., we're going to adjourn to an executive session to discuss the proposed police contract. We will be back shortly. Where to go in Mark's office?
How old was your?
What's this? Okay, oh, okay. What's this? Okay. Thanks, Eric.
No, it's. Are we recording? All right. I'd like to re-enter the regular meeting for December 28th, 2023. Could I have a motion to approve the 2024 to 2027 Borough of Columbia Police Officer Association Agreement?
Second.
I have a motion by Councilperson Price, second by Councilperson Kaufman, to approve the 2024 to 2027 Borough of Columbia Police Officers Association Agreement. Questions, comments, concerns? No? All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Next, could I have a motion to adopt Resolution 2023-37, adopting the fiscal year 2024 annual budget? A motion by Councilperson Kaufman, second by Councilperson Price, to adopt Resolution 2023-37, adopting the fiscal year 2024 annual budget. Questions, comments, concerns? Nothing's changed since we looked at it. So, yes, I would just like to commend the work of Tammy and Mark and all of the managers for working so diligently to get this budget together and keep it as lean as we possibly could and keep it with no tax increase. So, that being said, I have a motion by Councilperson Kaufman, second by Councilperson Price, to adopt Resolution 2023-37, adopting the fiscal year 2024 annual budget. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Next, could I have a motion to authorize staff to contract with Boyer and Ritter for auditing services for the borough for a 5-year term? A motion by Councilperson Kaufman, second by Councilperson Price, to authorize staff to contract with Boyer and Ritter for auditing. We had looked at all three of these proposals at the last meeting. Nothing's changed since then. I was not aware that there were any other questions asked. Is everyone, any comments or concerns on this?
I just have a quick question. What would happen if we did not select an auditing firm? Who would do it? Would the state do it?
No. We have to find somebody.
So, okay, so it's imperative.
Yes.
Yes.
Mandatory.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Yes. Now, if, in talking with other municipalities, and there are some here in Lancaster County that are still struggling to get an auditing firm locked in, you just have to ask for an extension and keep going until you get one on board. It just starts adding to the pressure of getting things done. You get to a certain point, you are then banned from going after any state grants, and you might start losing some state funding until such time you have that in place.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, Frank?
Heather, was there a dollar figure locked into that?
Yes.
You know what I mean, locked in, is that for the 5 years?
Yes, it is.
It's on page 63 of the PDF.
It's in your packet, Frank. It's,
Yeah, I didn't get to pick my packet up, I apologize.
Oh, okay, sorry. So it's $22,500 in 2024. And then it goes up by about $500 each year.
Yeah.
After that,
So
for a
that's-
5-year contract.
Okay, and how does that compare with our latest orders that we had?
So it's more,
Yeah,
but
it's
not.
about $6,000 more, which we expected it to be more than Sager Swisher. But we were actually pleasantly surprised because we were told to expect prices around $40,000. Which some of the quotes we got were tough around there.
Okay,
So we were pleasantly surprised with this one.
okay, thank you.
And I would say Tammy did an incredible job going through, talking to all the firms, answering their questions, working with them, asking questions to them. And when she was all done, she felt very good recommending this firm to us.
Yeah, I mean, I told her, I said, make sure you reach out and talk to every one of them. I want you to know, I want to know that you feel good working with them. And she was actually, when we weren't getting any responses, she was reaching out to people and saying, hey, we need an auditor. Can you send us an can you send us your RFP? And so she did a great job getting this.
And this firm was one of the ones recommended by Sager Swisher as they were wrapping up.
Yes. Any other questions, comments, or concerns? No. All right, I have a motion by Councilperson Kaufman, second by Councilperson Price, to authorize staff to contract with Boyer and Ritter for auditing services for the borough for a 5-year term. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed?
Thank you.
Next, could I have a motion to adopt resolution 2023-38, appointing John Meshi to the Civil Service Commission?
Second.
Motion by Councilperson Fisher, second by Councilperson Brevard, to adopt resolution 2023-38, appointing John Meshi to the Civil Service Commission. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Next, could I have a motion to adopt resolution 2023-39, appointing Jim Onspach to the Civil Service Commission?
Second.
I have a motion by Councilperson Fisher, second by Councilperson Brevard, to adopt resolution 2023-39, appointing Jim Onspach to the Civil Service Commission. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Could I have a motion to adopt resolution 2023-40, appointing Mary Wickenheiser to the Planning Commission?
So moved.
I have a motion by Councilperson Fisher, second by Councilperson Price, to adopt resolution 2023-40, appointing Mary Wickenheiser to the Planning Commission. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Next, I have a motion to adopt resolution 2023-41, appointing Nathan Roach to the Planning Commission.
So moved.
I have a motion by Councilperson Lintner, second by Councilperson Price, to adopt resolution 2023-41, appointing Nathan Roach to the Planning Commission. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Next, could I have a motion to adopt resolution 2023-42, appointing David Brumball to the Zoning Hearing Board?
Second.
I have a motion by Councilperson Brevard, second by Councilperson Fisher, to adopt resolution 2023-42, appointing David Brumball to the Zoning Hearing Board. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? No.
No.
Could I have a motion to adopt resolution 2023-43, appointing Steve White to the Zoning Hearing Board?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilperson Lindner, second by Councilperson Brevard, to adopt resolution 2023-43, appointing Steve White to the Zoning Hearing Board. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Next, could I have a motion to adopt resolution 2023-44, appointing Terry Ann Dowtrick to the Zoning Hearing Board?
So moved.
I have a motion by Councilperson Lindner, second by Councilperson Price, to adopt resolution 2023-44, appointing Terry Ann Dowtrick to the Zoning Hearing Board. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? And next, could I have a motion to authorize the bill payments?
Second.
A motion by Councilperson Price, second by Councilperson Kaufman, to authorize the bill payments. Are there any questions on these? I didn't think there was, nothing stood out to me. I have a motion by Councilperson Price, second by Councilperson Kaufman, to authorize the bill payments. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Next, new business, we've been asked to authorize staff to contract with Du Bois and Associates to complete the PNDI assessment for the McGinnis property as a requirement of the NPDES permitting. Can you tell us what those letters are?
The PNDI is an environmental study. It stands for Pennsylvania Natural Diversity Inventory. It's known as, affectionately in the planning world, as the bog turtle law. Because we purchased additional land to add to the McGinnis property, we have to expand the original study that was done back in 2022. So this is just them come in and grabbing those pieces along South 9th Street with those extra properties that we purchased.
It's the empty lot there. You mean
The empty lot, and
Before
we're
you go
swapping a bit of land around Tom Steiner's property.
Okay.
So technically, there's just a little bit more of that has to be included as well. So everything that's within that piece that will become the industrial park has to be included within the survey.
All right. Are there any other questions, comments? Are we okay to, we want to take action on this tonight? I'm okay to get this moving. All right. Do I have a motion to authorize staff to contract with Du Bois and Associates? I have a motion by Councilperson Price, seconded by Councilperson Kaufman, to authorize staff to contract with Du Bois and Associates to complete the PNDI assessment for the McGinnis property as a requirement of the NPDES permitting process.
So NPDES, just so you guys could live in alphabet soup, is the National Pollution Discharge and Elimination Systems. We in government love creating really odd, strange things. So basically that's your soil runoff, contaminant runoff on sites. Part of the Clean Water Act.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? All right. That moved. And then we have the proposal to consider authorizing the borough manager to enter into the contract with YSM to provide the design and contract administration services for the Maple Park Development Project. This is what we've been waiting for to get this project moving forward. Derek has told us that, you know, you put out the RFP, this is the only one that responded. They have the basic design. This is actually just putting it all together, making the final design plan and so forth. DCNR is chomping at the bit to have us get started on this. Any questions, comments, concerns?
Do we know why no one else had an interest in it? Because there were several listed there.
So, one, I don't want to say this wrong, but when you're looking to bid on a project and you realize that one of the companies who may be bidding is one of the ones who helped do the initial design work, you might be competing with the original, which is always a risk when you do that. Two, YSM is known in the state as being one of the best in this field of design work. So I can't tell you that for sure, but that's just a gut. Other firms told me they would love to bid on it. They just don't have any bandwidth right now. And one of the other guys who I thought would be fantastic, Dave Christian, he's actually retiring. So some of the ones that I thought for sure we would actually get a bid from, they have other reasons as to why, what's going on right now. So we talked to the state. We said, is there any concerns with having only one bid? And they said, absolutely not. Because we can show clearly that we did send it out. It was publicly advertised bid, and we did send it directly to 9 additional firms to make sure that it was widespread, so they're comfortable with moving forward. The state doesn't have an issue with it.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And just to be clear, this doesn't necessarily mean we're bound by the exact design that was in that master plan. So we could conceivably make tweaks and so forth.
And expected to make tweaks, and so we've talked about a few of them.
Because one of the things I thought about, and I'm just gonna throw it out there because I'm really excited about this thought, was the master plan calls for that half basketball court. But, you know, we've been talking about trying to find ways to diversify things and get other people into that park using it. So I was thinking that, and we checked on the dimensions, we could actually replace that half court with 2 pickleball courts with just a little bit extra. And I think that's the perfect place for it because the towers are both in close proximity and the older generation typically likes to play that as well. So I was thinking that could be a good way to get something else back there besides just basketball.
It's a really good idea.
And get other people using the park as well. Oh, good, so someone else likes my pickleball idea.
Not that I play, but
No, well, no, either.
I understand your logic. And
Growing sport.
It is, and there's no
Especially
place
among
else in the
seniors.
borough.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to think, when we had this master plan done, there were things that are happening now that were not a thing back then, like pickleball, like gaga ball. I mean, like, the kids love that in school. I mean, there's a gaga pit out at Gladfelder's now. But, I mean, that was not a thing when this was done.
gaga pit.
I know, right?
Injury after injury
I
after
know.
injury.
That's the first I heard of it.
I know. Well, now the big thing is, apparently the big thing in the elementary schools is baseball, tennis. Baseball with tennis rackets. Yes, baseball, tennis.
That sounds fun.
Yes, that is now a thing. But no, I thought, you know, what a perfect opportunity to, if we're not completely bound by this, we can tweak it a little bit, but this is just the contract to get them in to do that final complete design.
I'm happy to consider YSL for this project.
Yeah, I mean, we've worked with them before and they've been great. Oh, this is part of their plan. So, are we comfortable taking action on this tonight?
I am. Everybody else is.
Yeah. All right. Could I have a motion to authorize the borough manager to enter into a contract agreement with YSM to provide design and contract administration services for the Maple Park Development Project? I have a motion by Councilperson Kaufman, second by Councilperson Price, authorize the borough manager to enter into a contractual agreement with YSM to provide design and contract administration services for Maple Park. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Staff reports, comments, and announcements. Solicitor Gable.
Not too much to report since your last meeting with the holidays, but obviously we have the reorganization meeting coming up on Tuesday, so we'll be ready for that. And hopefully at the first voting meeting in January, we'll bring to you for authorization for advertisement bids for the Blue Lane property. So we want to keep that moving and hopefully get that sold. So that will be coming up as well. So I just wanted to put that on your radar.
All right. Secretary Treasurer Steyer.
Thank you. At the last couple of meetings, there were comments made about the clock tower here. If you guys remember, we had talked about, went back to my notes, it was way back in 2020, we had looked at getting the clock tower replaced. I'll be honest, started looking at the budget, looking at the numbers, looking at our capital thing, looking at the market house, and I said, wait, let's put everything on hold until we figure out where everything is and where the money's coming from. Having now built a really good relationship with the new director at the Watch and Clock Museum, Rory came down with one of his clock technicians and went up into the clock tower to look at it again. Because one of the ongoing concerns I've had is I don't want to take something out of this building that's an historic piece that truly belongs in the tower. His term, and I quote him directly, is you have a Frankenstein. It's not really a clock. It's parts and pieces from about 8 clocks all cobbled together, and it kind of works. He says you will continue to spend a lot of money trying to get someone in here to figure out how all this thing goes together, or you can pull it out, put in a new modern electric clock with a GPS and everything else for less than $20,000, and you'll have a clock that works. They can fix the arms and all the other pieces and get it back in good working order. So Wilson and I have a couple older cost opinions from people. We'd like to go ahead and look at moving that forward next year. We did not spend the money that we had budgeted out of our ARPA funds to bring over and balance the budget. We are going to have some conversations next year about how we encumber the rest of those funds and get them spent. To me, the clock tower here is a centerpiece in town. It's an important piece, and I think it's something I'd like to see us put time and money into to get it fixed up and in. So look for that coming soon. We'll try to get something together and up in front of you guys to get it approved. And it was just really cool climbing back up there and being around a bunch of clock nerds looking at it, and they're like, "Oh, look at that!" I'm like, "Screw it! I don't know what that thing does." So that was a very fun trip. 2, fair warning to everyone except Sharon. This is next Tuesday. We will have our reorganization meeting. We'd like to get a new photo for the website as a team, and then get new individual photos. So come prepared Tuesday for picture day. Have your moms and dads fix your hair and give you a comb to bring to school, and we will get pictures taken next Tuesday, okay? And finally, Sharon, for you, your last meeting, I want to say thank you as well. It's been good to work with you. I appreciate your wisdom, and I say this sincerely. You questioned some things, you challenged some things. I've grown. I've learned from you and your wisdom as well. So thank you. I appreciate your time and energy on this board. I appreciate anyone who takes time and energy to give back to their community. It's not a glorious job. You said it well. I mean, it's not always pretty, but I have been in this business a long time, and I always appreciate the people who give back to their community. So I want to thank you. And on that note, just for everyone who's here, we have some snacks and a small little party for Sharon. If you guys would stick around after the meeting is over, we will spend some time and celebrate you. So thank you very much.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Boards, commissions, and committees, we have the approved minutes from LASSA in your packet. Borough Council members, we'll start with Councilperson Brodeur.
I would echo Borough Manager Stivers. Thank you to Sharon. I've said it many times while we served together that I always appreciated the questions that you asked. You had me consider things that I wouldn't have considered otherwise. And I'm going to say it again, I'm going to miss you being here.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's all I have.
Yeah, same for me, Sharon. It was good getting to know you the past couple of years, and I hope we still hear from you. I really do.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
2 things. Thank you, Sharon and Joe. You're the ones that got me involved in politics, so I appreciate it.
So it's your fault. Now I know.
Apparently, yeah.
This is part.
Everything
This is part 2 where it gets ugly. I don't know if it's a disconnect between staff and council, or maybe it's just me. But we had a property go through planning twice, or once actually, and it was put on hold, and then we found out this last planning meeting that things changed. The property went from 5 units to 12 units with no additional parking added. I don't understand how that could happen.
What?
So it's the 156 Locust Street. Evan and I had a conversation about this today. As far as I know, they only have a demolition permit to strip the inside. They have not been approved for any interior work. So I asked Jessica 2 weeks ago to get back with Evan. Evan and I had talked about it. As far as I know, again, I don't know of any building permits having been approved yet. Evan doesn't know of any yet. I have toured the building. I understand that it used to be 11 units plus commercial space. My opinion, and I told Evan this, and I told Jessica this, is that may have been what was there. It has functioned as a, whatever it was, 5-unit space. For them to now increase, it has to go through a process. It's not just a gimme because it used to be years ago. So it is still in question. Evan and I are going to look at this next week right away. So well aware of it. We are looking into it.
So, just this, I'm gonna voice my opinion on this. An issue like that, even though you may tour and agree that that's reasonable, I'm not saying you did, because you're saying you did. I still think something like that should go through planning. And I gotta be honest, I was upset because that planning, Jessica told us it was.
And it remains my understanding as well. So like I said, we will look at this
No,
next week.
she's telling me it was approved to go to 12 units.
Oh, no, it has not been approved yet.
Okay.
Yeah, as far as I know, yeah, we talked about it, and I think there was some misunderstanding about what was in there previous. The way, before Mark and Jessica toured it, the way it was explained to us was that building, even though there were only 5 units in use, that there were still 11 units within that building, right? So maybe half of the space was taken up with those 5 units, and the rest were just, kind of abandoned units that no one was living in. That does not appear to be the case from everything that we've learned since then, which I think changes the analysis quite a bit on that. So I think that's where we need to figure things out, make sure we're all on the same page.
Right, the property goes back to 2016, I think, as a 5-unit property. So anything to increase that should be all new, not grandfathered over anything.
Correct. Yes, that's what we're. Correct.
Okay, but that's not what we were told at planning. So I just wanted to be clear on that.
Okay, did not realize it.
So that's all I have.
I have 2 things I'll be quick. One, maybe you can help me out with this one, Mark. Someone contacted me about a week ago asking why the handicap renewals went out so late this year. I thought I knew, but I didn't want to answer in case I was wrong. Do you have any idea why they went out later?
The only thing that held it up was we were talking about making changes to the fee schedule about the renewals and how that was going to go. We wanted to make sure council was on board with the renewal fees and the changes before we sent them out.
Okay, all right, thanks. And the other thing, I just wanted to kind of sum up my time in a quick note here. So trying to sum up my 4 years serving on council is difficult. Being in the minority, I did not expect to be able to make big changes, but I was wrong. And over the years, numerous residents contacted me directly with a variety of issues, concerns, and complaints. I was able to see 3 of those issues all the way through from complaints to changes in borough ordinances. And that was with help from other people sitting up here. So I reached some common ground when I worked with Todd and so forth. So I really did appreciate everyone's help in those things. They were not major projects, but rather quality of life issues that affect residents on a daily basis. And this, I believe, is what your local government should be doing, looking out for your best interest. The one thing I am most proud of in my service to this community is that I never sat up here and kept my mouth shut. Even when it was extremely difficult for me, I asked why. There were times when my speaking up resulted in me being harassed and threatened, and I even suffered vandalism to personal property. But my 4 years here has been a learning experience that I would not trade for anything. I participated in every vote and never missed a work session or council meeting. What I need now is for my constituents to understand that democracy only works when the people participate and hold their elected officials accountable. I thank the people who, through their vote, gave me the opportunity to serve. It has been an honor. May you all have a happy and healthy new year. Thank you. And I appreciated, I know we never agreed on everything, probably mostly not, but I did appreciate Evan and Derek and you, Mark, and everyone seated at the table, even though we didn't agree with a lot of things. like I said, I learned a lot, and it has been quite an experience for me. Something I never, ever thought I would do. So that's all I have in closing.
Great. First of all, I just want to echo everyone. I know we've had our ups and downs. We survived. I still remember the very first thing, it was our very first day of NEMO training, and you and I were in a stairwell at the York, whatever it was, the Heritage Hills Hotel. We were in the stairwell offering Mark the job of a manager.
Yeah.
And we felt like we had already been through the ringer, and it was only a month and a half into our term. And here we are sitting at the end of 4 years thinking, oh my gosh, we have come so far.
Yeah, we did.
And we definitely survived a lot. So thank you for your service in the community. And keep on moving.
Okay, thank you.
Moving forward. And I also want to add, last week, was it last week? Yeah, I think last week. I was on the meeting for the Vacant Property Reinvestment Board. As you remember, we signed the blight to send the 170 South 5th Street.
Yeah.
170 South 5th to Vacant Property Reinvestment Board to declare blight. They were actually able to get a hold of get the owner of the property to respond to them, which is something we had not been able to do. And they are considering their options to either have a hearing or submit their remediation plan. So I will know something on that probably at my January meeting, because I think the due date was January 6th. So I will know at the end of January if they're going to submit the remediation plan or what they're going to do. So it works. The blight process works. That's all we wanted was them to. Leo?
Yeah, on a closing note, Sharon, I know you and I have not agreed a lot of times, but I want to say to you, I truly respect and admire the way you conducted yourself here in these meetings, that when you believed on a vote, you stuck with it. You were not swayed by other people or anything. You stuck with what you believed. And I also want to add to that and say, I have never in 22 years, to my knowledge, saw anybody put the time in you have put in and prepare as well as you have for every council meeting, and not only the council meetings, but the committee meetings that you have attended. And I truly appreciate that.
Thank you.
And thank you, and may God bless you, and good things coming your way.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thanks a lot. And you're welcome for what I did. I learned about things I never thought I would even want to know about. The crown and the roads and the reveal. I learned all that from Frank before I even sat up here. So, yeah, learned a lot.
All right. Next meeting, next Tuesday at 7 p.m., January 2nd, council will hold the required reorganization meeting. Could I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
A motion by Councilperson Kaufman, second by Councilperson Price, to adjourn at 8:17 p.m. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? We're adjourned.
Heather, to me, you have to sign all these.
What?
I give you the folder, because I give all these.
I have all the stuff in the rework, or in the police line folder.
If I did, you would really know it.
Listen, I'm not really sure.
You know what I always appreciated?
All right.